A player prop in this Saturday night football game between the Texans and the Chiefs is 6-0 in this spot, and I think there are more than a few reasons why it'll go to 7-0. In this video, I'm going to break down my favorite player prop for the Texans and the Chiefs. Nothing for me on that Ravens versus Steelers game, but I'm really excited for this one. Let's break it down with plenty of analysis. Now, we are coming off a mediocre Thursday night football game between the Chargers and the Broncos. We took Gus Bus Edwards over 33 and a half rushing yards. It looked a little scary early, 3 straight runs for 0 yards, but then he broke off the longest run he's had in 5 years, ending with 68. Kind of a no sweat, kind of a mega sweat, but we did lose on the under 42 and a half in that game. Offensive lines were getting plenty of push. It really had no chance from the get-go. Lost a little bit of juice. Let's bounce back with this one. And as always, in the comment section below, let me know what you think of this pick, as well as what you're on for Saturday Night Football. If you have any picks in Ravens versus Steelers, fill up the comment section below. And of course, if you're coming in new to this channel, I'm going for my 4th straight profitable NFL season. Hasn't gone according to plan so far, but I think that we're about to go on a heater. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Sit back and let me tell you about my favorite player prop between the Texans and the Chiefs. A reminder that this channel is sponsored by BetMGM. It is the perfect time to use promo code JustGridiron for a first bet offer up to $1,500. All you got to do, deposit $10, and if you lose your first wager on BetMGM after using our code JustGridiron, you'll get it all back up to $1,500 in bonus bets. It'll also get you started for their promotion 7 parlays in 7 days. It goes from December 17th to December 23rd. So you got a few more days to use all their odds boost tokens. You can get a normal parlay that might be minus EV up to a positive EV parlay with their odds boost. So make sure to go check that out. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. The spread and the total on this game have been moving a lot this week because of Patrick Mahomes' potential injury. The Texans were short favorites when the market assumed that Carson Wentz was going to get the start, but Mahomes has been practicing in full, and it's flipped back to the Chiefs, obviously, for good reason. It's freaking Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking to fade this Texans team moving forward, but not with a team like the Chiefs, who seemingly can't pull away from anybody. So I decided to look at the player prop market, and I noticed that one player in particular, his lines are just too low. And it makes sense why his line would be pretty low, especially in this matchup, because it's the worst in the NFL, quote unquote. We'll talk about it. And that player is coming off the second worst game of the year so far. I think this is a great buy low spot on Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans. Yes, the Chiefs, they rank number 1 in rushing yards allowed to running backs this season. However, that doesn't mean that they have the best run defense in the NFL. Over the entire season, they rank 5th in rushing EPA and 10th in overall success rate. They rank 4th in yards per carry this season at 3.9, and it is one of the better run-stopping units in the NFL. But it's not the best. And it's also a run defense that's trending in the wrong direction. They rank 4th this season in yards per carry. That's great. But over the last 3 weeks, they're allowing running backs to average 5.0 yards per carry. That's the 5th worst in the NFL during that span. It's also been against lousy competition. They let Jerome Ford of the Browns run wild. Both Chargers running backs. We saw Gus Edwards. He didn't look very efficient until that last big run. He ran at an above average rate. Kamani Vidal, he ran at an above average rate. And Sincere McCormick of the Las Vegas Raiders, he's new onto the scene. He averaged 5.3 yards per carry for the Raiders, tallying 64 rushing yards on just 12 carries. And this has kind of been a trend, but it's more been rearing its head lately. Since week 6, when the Chiefs had a bye week, they ranked 9th in rushing EPA per play and 11th in success rate. It's been nowhere near the best in the NFL, and lately, again, it's been one of the worst. And it's funny, in that span, you know how the Chiefs' pass defense, we've even faded them before? They've actually been doing a lot better. In those last 3 weeks where the run defense is allowing 5.0 yards per carry, the pass defense is 3rd in dropbacks by EPA. I really hope that OC Bobby Slowick of the Texans sees this difference, that you can run on the Chiefs right now, but the pass defense has really stepped up and lead with Joe Mixon in this matchup. Joe Mixon, to be fair, and we've said this before, he's not been that efficient this season, but the volume in this matchup should be enough to get us over his rushing line. Mixon has handled 94.4 of running back snaps last week and 93.1% of the snaps over his last 8 games. It's his backfield. And here's the trend. In road games, Joe Mixon this season has basically turned into prime Deion Sanders. Not only has Joe Mixon been over 59 and a half rushing yards in all 6 games on the road this season, he's averaging 115 rushing yards per game on the road. The best run defense he faced on the road this season was the Packers, who actually have a similar run defense to the Chiefs this year. They rank 9th in EPA per rush attempt, and they rank 1 spot below the Chiefs in terms of success rate. And that's the full season stats. That's not what we're looking at the Chiefs' run defense going in the wrong direction lately. It was also the same exact spot. The Texans were a 3.5 point road underdog, and Joe Mixon ran for 115 yards in that matchup. There were worries kind of early on in the week with Joe Mixon, right? He sustained an ankle injury, but he's been a practice participant all week long. They should rely on the man closing in on a 1,000-yard season in a game that should be relatively close. It's also supposed to be 30 degrees in this game, and me personally, I like taking running backs in cold weather. Think about this for a second. How badly does a 13-1 Chiefs team want to tackle Joe Mixon on a week where they have one less day to prepare? That doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me, especially with a heavy dose of him, right? He's averaging about 18 rush attempts per game. So to run for 60 yards, he has to average about 3.3 yards per carry. I like our chances here. So I bet over 59 and a half rushing yards for Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans at minus 115 on BetMGM to win 1 unit. Let's see Joe Mixon in his 7th road game go over this, hopefully by a lot, but at least 60 yards where he's averaging 115, been over in all of them, and even in an exact similar game script, 3.5 point road underdog against the Packers with a good run defense, he ran for 115 yards. Hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown, and if you did, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, because my Sunday video will be out on Saturday. Be on the look for that. Turn on post notifications if you want, and let me know what you think of my pick in the comment section below, and what you're on. Again, nothing for me for Ravens versus Steelers, so if you have picks, I'd love to give you any of my leans. Let's fill up the comment section. Let's have some conversations, but until next time, let's go 1-0. On Saturday Night Football, that even sounds weird. I almost forgot what day it was. Why not us?